wherein it was found that in Sitopaladi Churna, some heavy metals were found, and it was published in JAMA article. Now, it's really surprising and shocking news for many of the Ayurvedic fraternity, many of the Ayurvedic doctors. How come heavy metals come in the Sitopaladi Churna? Because as we all know, Sitopaladi Churna, there is no any compound, there is no any mineral compound, it's only oral herbal compound. Then how these heavy metals are coming in the herbal material? So when we analyze, we have done few researches, we have done few analysis, Mahasudarshan Churna, Sitopaladi Churna. What happens is in the raw material herbal collection, we plug the herbs from the soil. And many times this soil gets the industrial pollutants like lead or arsenic, etc. All these heavy metals, the industrial pollutants, they spoil the soil and water. These herbal material, when we pluck from the soil, they get assimilated through this herbal material and they come out into the churna form. So as a Ayurveda practitioner, as a healthcare practitioners, we must ensure that whatever the raw material we are procuring from different sources, they are free from any toxic metals or heavy metals. So in that sense also, the importance of the soil and water, they become very essential. So while there are many methods to remove the heavy metals or the minerals from the herbal material, that's a different topic which we'll discuss separately. But for the today's topic, it is very essential that we play the importance of soil and water in our life, in the essential matters. This is a very good topic. I think Dr. Pawan Sharma ji has selected for today's topic, and it is a burning topic also. Even in any discussion, even I respect Honorable Prime Minister, even if you go to abroad at Delhi's lectures, everywhere it's a climate pollution or pollution, soil, water, it comes very regularly. Second most important is, as everyone knows, because of the industrialization, water scarcity is increasing every day. In many cities, many areas, the high-rise buildings are coming up, water scarcity is there. And how to get the water resources, how to prevent them, how to prevent and how to preserve the water resources is very essential. I think I don't take much time for Sharma ji, otherwise it will take a lot of time. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I would like to hear from eminent speakers. Today, as you mentioned, there are very eminent speakers, of course. I would like to hear from them also. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Durga Prasad. I would like to welcome Dr. Himanish Das also, R&D Head of Imami Healthy Tasty Oil, Imami Agrotech. Thank you, Dr. Himanish. Now I would like to request Dr. Sakat Basu, our first speaker, and then stay with us because Nitin Ormalia ji will also highlight Ayurvedic aspect. So thank you, Dr. Sakat Basu, for joining, and now stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. My sincere gratitude and thanks to you all once more time for your, warm introduction and always your warm reception. It has been a pleasure to be a part of this program. And thank you to all the speakers, dignitaries, and participants who are a part of this program today. So today is World Soil Day, and there has been a term that has been pretty regularly used now in literature, and it's called soil health. So the soil health or the health of the soil is not really going good around the world. As we know, around the world, we have different types of soil: brown soil, black soil, Chernozem soils, various categories and classification of soil. But what the important process to learn from this is that soil formation is a long, very long, historic geological process that takes a very, very long time for the formation of the soil that we use, or on which we do our agriculture, on which our ecosystem stands, on which forest grows, and our entire humanity is dependent upon. So how is soil created? Soil is a heterogeneous mixture of a large amount of materials. So first is boulders, pebbles, stones, rocks that get down from the mountains and undergo erosion over thousands of years, turning into small fine particles like such as sand. Then there is various amounts of minerals that constitute the soil and enriches the soil by making them rich in minerals, which could be sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, nickel, chromium, whatnot, like gold, silver, everything that we can remember as source of minerals are available from the soil, a vast majority of them, whether radioactive, non-radioactive, whatever. Our industrial growth that has happened around the world is dependent on the soil-based minerals that we have been utilizing from time immemorial. Even during the very ancient period of human civilization, we have been utilizing them without knowing. And now with knowing, we have been doing broadcasting type of geological excavations to get all these rich minerals out of the soil, gemstones, and above all, our agriculture. And most important above all is our ecosystem. And not only this, soil is also a living organic component. So all the leaf litters, leaf particles, dead animals, dead human bodies, everything, whether you burn it, whether you cremate it, you are actually returning complex organic molecules into their simple elemental forms back into the soil. And this recycling has been happening through the urine, whether it's urine, whether it's stool of animals, poop of birds, everything rich in uric acid, whichever goes into the soil, usually for a long time, helps in the process of soil formation. And as the soil is formed, it results in the growth of plants. And because of the plant, we have this oxygen that we need for the planet to thrive and survive. And this is how our earth, our planet is created. So soil is the integral part of the ecological system, and without which we could not survive. And it has developed over millions of years of geology that we have attributed to Earth. And it is a piece of log that falls in a forest needs almost 100 years for their disintegration into the soil. And not only this, soil not only constitutes of these inorganic or organic chemical constituents, but it also composed of a number of living organisms, whether there is columbola like insect-like organisms, spiders, mites, various species of insects that thrive and survive even within the soil. And then there is bacteria, actinomycetes, fungi, yeast, and various kinds of soil viruses. They all remain embedded in the soil and do take part in the formation of the soil, in the transportation of nutrients from one plant to another. And recently, with more extensive research, we are finding that the quality of the soil depends upon the quality of the soil microflora and microfauna, which means the plant material present in the soils and the animals that are present in the soil, which we do not see. So there is earthworm that lives in the soil, and they eat the soil. And as it passes through the gut of the earthworm, it gets laden with a nitrogen-rich content, and then it comes out as stool of the earthworm. And hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of earthworms around the world is continuously working towards this in producing soil, making them rich in nitrogen. Then there are legume plants that grow in the soil and are capable of trapping nitrogen with the help of certain bacteria that are present in the soil, known as rhizobium, and they are capable of trapping the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil and make the soil rich in nitrogen for other plants to grow, for other crops to grow. Most of this nitrogen, although it is present in a high proportion in the atmosphere, it's not available to the ecosystem. Without these plants, we would never have been able to trap them and convert through soil bacteria such as Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacter, and through multitudes of enzyme systems that works through this process in making the soil rich in nitrogen. This is naturally. But unfortunately, what we see around the world is overexploitation of our soil. So what is happening is that we are overexploiting our soil through extensive industrial agriculture. We are extensively using pesticides, insecticides, weedicides, and all other chemicals to remove plants, harmful insects, adding synthetic fertilizers, huge amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium to our soil. At one point of time, this was good. Like there was this time of green revolution when the average annual production of crops around the world was low. And slowly we learned about the use of these synthetic chemicals and our agricultural production went up. But over the years, we are realizing that not only in India, but around the world, farmers have the habit of extensively using these chemicals. most of these chemicals in most countries are heavily subsidized because farmers constitute the backbone of an ecosystem of the economic system of any country. So what happens is, out of fear, farmers usually apply way more fertilizers than it actually is needed by the crop. They are spraying way more insecticides, pesticides, fungicides, and all other toxic chemicals into the field to kill harmful insect, fungi, bacteria that causes diseases of the crop in huge amount beyond the threshold level. So every company, when they sell their chemicals as insecticide, pesticide, synthetic fertilizers, usually provide a recommended dose. So much so per gram per liter, so much so per gram per kg of soil, etc. But when farmers, whether they are educated, whether they are not educated, whether they are from first world countries or third world countries, it's a very common phenomena that we observe around the world is that farmers are over-explored using this. Because this is easily accessible to them, they are subsidized by the respective governments because they consider important sections of our voting members. As a reason, farmers constitute an important part of the citizen spectra for any country. And that's why they are in a full go of over exploitation, over application of these chemicals. Now, when you apply these chemicals way more than actually that is needed, it actually does long-term harm to the soil rather than helping in active production. So how this is happening? So if you are increasing the like chemicals that will kill harmful insects, it is not only killing the harmful insects, but it is also killing the farmer-friendly insects like bees, moths, butterflies, beetles, various species of flies that all help in pollination. They are all dying in huge number, including ants. Also, if you apply these toxic chemicals at a very high level, either for controlling the weeds in the field or for controlling the insects, bacteria, or fungi in the field, you are helping to induce a phenomenon called resistance. So there are, like, whenever you expose a certain population of a living organism to any kind of chemical exposure or physical exposure, it leads to mutation spontaneously in nature. So if you are looking for killing thousands of the bugs, there will be 2 or 3 of them that will be able to withstand that high dose and they will survive. And when they multiply, their next generation are resistant to that particular chemical or resistant to the particular dose of that specific chemicals, and they increase their number and they come back heavily on the crops, causing them infection or low production or disease infestation that we are unable to control. The solution is you either increase the concentration or you use alternative other available chemicals to find new ways to control these pathogens, whether they could be fungi, whether they are soil actinomyces, whether this could be virus, whether this could be algae or whatever. But due to the over application, not only there is resistance in this animal, this is killing out healthy animals. Many wildlife that comes and feeds on the borders of these agricultural fields are also getting contamination. And as a process of biomagnification, as they're entering into the food system, this biomagnification is causing the enrichment and higher level of these toxic chemicals into the environment and into the food chains and food webs in a very dangerous way. So they are getting integrated into our food habit system. Also, as we have irrigation water and rainwater flowing through the fields, the excess residue of such harmful chemicals that are present in the field are washed away, and then they percolate in the soil through the holes or through the soil particles, and then they percolate deep inside our groundwater table, and our groundwater resources are getting polluted with these toxic chemicals. Also, the other way that the soil pollution is happening is extensive use of groundwater. I will give you an example of Bangladesh and West Bengal because they share the same geological features. Is because both in the rural areas as well as in the urban areas, there is unrestricted use of groundwater. In the rural areas, groundwater is extensively used for irrigation purposes, and in the city or the municipal areas or the corporation areas, the groundwater is extensively used for supplying to the various industries as well as to the construction developments that is happening, infrastructure development, all this process is reducing the groundwater table dangerously below. As soon as the groundwater table goes below, and unless you have sufficient rain to recharge this groundwater table, your soil starts drying. You will definitely have seen pictures of dried soil parts in huge tracts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, and other parts of southern India that's coming up quite significantly is because we are losing water. So this year theme has been to identify and understand that water and soil are very closely integrated. If the soil cycle is disrupted, it will impact the water cycle. And if the water cycle is impacted, it is going to impact the quality and the health of the soil. So these are few areas how this is being recharged, destroyed. And as you are taking out more and more groundwater, your groundwater level is falling down and down, and toxic chemicals and minerals which were at the bottom level of the groundwater, which would have never had the opportunity to come to the soil surface, is now easily getting to the soil surface. Easily available arsenites and other forms of toxic metals which were embedded deep at the bottom of the groundwater, because we are exploiting groundwater at a very high level. As you are pumping these groundwater out, through this water, the leachates and the minerals, particularly arsenic, is also coming out. And when you are using this as irrigation water, they have been given to the rice plants and other crops. And these plants have the ability not only to absorb water, but they will also absorb the minerals and nutrients that are available in the water. So for rice, arsenic is not going to kill rice, because plant cells have a cellular structure. Within the cell, they have a structure called vacuoles, which are not present in animal cells. These vacuoles are capable of storing huge amount of toxic metabolites, unused minerals that are toxic to the plants. They will store them, and it will not impact the metabolism of the plant. But when someone will consume the plant, when you are taking them as a food, whether animals eating them as forage or we are eating them as rice grains as our staple food, this is getting integrated into our health and body system, causing great harm. So it is not only impacting the soil and water, it is also impacting the ecosystem and the health of the animals and human. We are not understanding how we are damaging this. Modern agricultural practices have been suggesting that we do a lot of tillage, uprooting the topsoil, mixing them with the lower level of the soil. In modern agricultural practices, they are saying that you should not be removing the topsoil, because the top 5 inches to 10 inches of the soil is the most fertile layer of the soil. If you lose this topsoil, then your quality of your soil will deteriorate. So it is the creamy layer. But because of lack of water in the soil, or the moisture content going down due to drought and other human-induced factors, or global warming, where our annual average temperature of the planet is increasing, and the soil is also starting rapidly to lose its moisture, as the moisture is going up, the topsoil is drying up. And as soon as the topsoil dries up, what will happen? Whenever there is a strong wind, it will move. Just like a sweep, you use a broom to sweep the dust on the floor. In the same way, when the natural wind passes at a very high velocity over these lands, which is not protected, when there is not enough vegetation on the top and they are dried, they will remove the topsoil, which is the most mineral-rich part of the soil. And as soon as the topsoil is gone, your soil becomes virtually useless. Your agricultural production will go down, and you have to make huge inputs in terms of nitrogen, phosphate, phosphorus, and various macro and micronutrients synthetically to be added to the soil, which increases your crop production cost and also is detrimental to the soil health. Why is it detrimental to the soil health? Because if you are adding too much chemical to the soil, whether in the form of nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, or other chemicals that you are adding to the soil to make it fertile, it is becoming mineral rich, but at the same time, it is dangerously changing the pH of the soil. So acidic soil, which had less pH, if you are adding more limes and stuff, is turning into alkaline soil, which is an abnormal condition for the bacteria, for the friendly bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes, and other insects and earthworm that live within the soil ecosystem. They are dying, or their number is significantly going down. And as their number is significantly going down, the quality of soil goes down, because they are not being able to add the organic nutrients to the soil. And As a consequence, the quality of soil goes down. So you may see a increase of production for a few years, but then you will suddenly see there is decrease of production for after certain years. So all these are very critical challenges that are facing the planet, and it's very important that we pay attention to soil conservation due to these factors. When some are natural, but majority of them are anthropogenic in nature. So what could we do to reduce the impact on mother soil? Because if there is no soil, there is actually no hope for us, because our forest would be gone, our agriculture would be gone, we will not be able to harvest our minerals from the soil, and even our entire economy, ecology, and humanity will be greatly and gravely challenged. The black soil of all the soils is the most fertile soil, and there has been an emphasis around the world to protect the black soil in every country to the best of your ability, so that we do not lose this high quality soil, and that will significantly impact our agriculture. But why is this not happening in the forest, where we have dense forest? We do not have the problem of this soil conservation or this soil degradation. Why is that? So if you are going to a forest, you would see the entire forest is always mostly covered with green vegetation. There will be dying and decaying woods. There may be a decaying animal that is lying there. All of them in their own way are adding nutrients to the soil with the help of various bacteria, fungi, virus that is operating in the soil. They help in the breakdown of these complex elements. Even bones get disintegrated into the soil and adds to the phosphorus level and calcium level. And this natural process of calcium cycle, sulfur cycle, and all other mineralogical cycle continuously has been going in for several thousand millions of years for Earth to evolve and for ecosystem to sustain and survive. So one of the important lessons that we have learned from the forest is to protect your agricultural field. They need to be covered with vegetation. So if you leave your field fallow, a technical term, which means if you leave your field empty without a crop cover, then what happens is that the moisture in the soil evaporates under the presence of a hot sun, and your soil turns becoming dry and drier, which is very detrimental for the soil health, as because a strong wind will carry away all the topsoil, and what will be left over, the subsoils, are not good for agricultural practices. So it is very important that throughout the year, for every agricultural practices, we need to rotate our fields with different crops. So it is not advisable that if you are growing wheat, if you are growing rice, if you are growing, say, any kind of spices or any kind of other commercial crop, jute or cotton, it is not a good idea that every year you go back and grow the same crop time and again. So if you are having a field that grows rice on year number 1, rice on year number 2, rice on year number 3, what happens is rice have specific affinity for certain minerals. So if you grow continuously rice on that field every year, they will deplete the soil out of the specific nutrients required by soil. But if you rotate rice with jute and with a leguminous crop, what happens is various crops or various species of plants have various different nutrient requirement. So if you rotate the field with different kinds of crop grown on every season, what happens is that all the minerals are not depleted in the same way, and it creates and maintains a healthy balance. If you look into our forest ecosystem, you will see that, say, within 100 square meter areas, there will be hundreds and thousands of different species of plants. They have different lengths of root. Their nutritional requirements are different. They grow in different patterns. Some will grow long and reach a height of 20-30 meters and will block the sunlight from reaching the forest floor. There will be some that will be twinkling and, like climbing the plants to reach for the sunlight. There will be small herby, shrubby plant that grows at the very, very bottom and are very small. They complete their life cycle maybe within 2-3 months. They die, produce seeds, and new generations come up because they do not get enough nutrients. So their life cycles are shortened. So this is how the forest ecosystem caters to hundreds and thousands of plant species, and this is how forests have survived. You cannot have the exact similar model applied for modern agriculture, but by rotation of the crops, we can balance the use of nutrients from the soil by application of certain synthetic and organic fertilizers, by using of compost, and by restricting the use of same minerals by the same crop everywhere. This is one way of preventing that. By having plant cover on the soil, you not only help in the prevention of loss of moisture, but you also prevent increasing of soil temperature. This sounds very funny for those who are not associated with soil science. So there are specific thermometers that we embed in the soil, and that actually capable of getting the temperature of the soil beneath the surface, which is very important. Just like climate change, if the temperature goes 2 degrees more, it impacts the entire ecosystem. If the soil temperature either falls below, or even more, or alarmingly, if the temperature starts increasing, all the soil forming microbes, all the soil forming animals, insects, and other plants dependent, their root starts decomposition, and it's very detrimental for the soil. So it is important to protect the soil by providing them with some kind of vegetation cover or plant cover to reduce the loss of soil moisture and to prevent soil temperature from increasing. The other part is, if we have grazing things continued on such artificial regenerated part, then the animals are dumping their waste through their urine and feces going into the soil, and is keeping it sustainable by the decomposition of these organic materials, from which nitrogen and other materials are retrieved. So it is very important that we keep our soil active. It is very important that we do not overexploit our soil. And it is also important that we do not make grazing so rampant that the hooves of the animal actually uproots grasses and other plants, and while they are chewing and munching on the forages, they are exposing the soil in huge numbers. So in case of forest, animal move from one place to another, but in case of restricted foraging, if the animals are regularly removing plant material from one particular stretch, all the plants would be gone and the soil surface will be exposed. So it is also important how we move our foraging animals in case of big dairies, in case of meat generating animals, that we move them from one pasture to another and allow the pasture to regenerate by the time, by reseeding, providing with them with proper irrigation and mineral nutrients or compost. And the last but not the least is organic agriculture, that has been coming up in great way in various countries, but it still has a long way to go. Organic agriculture is an agricultural practice which does not use any synthetic fertilizers or any kind of synthetic chemicals like insecticide, pesticide, fungicides, and completely rely upon organically decomposed material like your compost, your kitchen waste, and other such materials for providing the nutrients to the plants. It has its own limitation, but the cost of production is also high, and the produce is sold at the market at a higher rate. But nonetheless, it has become popular and it is gaining popularity. Customers who are ready to pay extra money for safe food are growing for organically grown crops and stuff, and it is considered to be one of the very healthy agricultural practice in producing and sustaining your soil health and soil life. So with all this, I extend my sincere thanks, and this is in nutshell how soil conservation is working and what are the challenges and problems we are facing with global soil profiles. And the International Soil Union has been working in association with the soil unions of every single country, including India, in finding out strategies for working out various sustainable methods and environmental methods or natural processes for regenerating of the forest, regeneration of our agricultural land, and they're alarming people and making them aware that industrial agriculture or giant agriculture with extensive use of the chemicals is not actually good for the soil health, as well as not only good for the soil ecosystem. Thank you very much, and I appreciate for giving me this platform to share, and thank you so much for your warm invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Sakat Wafi. Thank you. Excellent flow and excellent content, upgraded content every time. Really, I salute your zeal that without reading, without anything, you continuously extend your, share your knowledge. Really great. Really.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So now I would like to request Dr. Nitin Ormalia, Professor and Head, Department of Agat Tantra. He is also working on toxicology. So welcome, Dr. Nitin. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm thankful to Pawan sir and BD Sharma sir for giving me opportunity to present my the topic in this platform. Just now, I'm sharing my slide. Yes. So as we know, today is the World Soil Day. Soil and water source of life. It is our theme. So I'm going to present my topic in this theme. Come to the introduction. As we know, soil and water both is sine qua non for the life. That means the survival on this planet depends on the indispensable link between soil and water. As we know, we have the dependency on soil and water. Without soil and water, we can't live, because whatever we are eating, that is production depend on the soil. So it's upon dependency. Over 95% of our food originate from these two fundamental resources. As we know, soil water a vital component for nutrient absorption by plants binds our ecosystem. This is also a very important part in our ecosystem. Otherwise it will be disturbed and that we can't survive, because soil and water is the important factor. This symbiotic relationship is the foundation of our agricultural system. So come to the next slide. As we know, there are three layers of earth. First layer is outermost layer is crust, and second middle layer is mantle, and third layer is core. So we are discussing now in the today we are discussing about crust, outer layer. What we are getting in nutrition and everything in outer layer. So that we have to protect, we have to preserve. So on that topic, we are going to discuss everything. As our first speaker, Sakas sir, discussed everything regarding soil, but I will again discuss some different things. So what is the importance of soil? Soil constitutes a critical component of the natural system and is a vital contributor to the human commonwealth through its contribution to food. As we know, we are getting food from the earth, and we are doing production and everything, and also water depend on the earth. Whatever will be soil and how much water is just conserved in the earth layer, that is important, that we are getting from different sources. So this is important, and we are getting energy from that, and this is a very big role in biodiversity. The soil is a living resource, home to more than 25% of our planet's biodiversity. It is estimated that only 1% of soil microorganism species are currently known, compared to 80% of plant species. And this is a very important phenomena, that we have searched only 1% of microorganisms who persist in soil, but there are many type of microorganisms that we have to search. So come to the next slide. Up to 90% of living organisms live or spend part of their lifestyle in soil, that we know everything. Soil organisms can break down certain contaminants. Also, whatever organism are just survive in soil, they also give good result in for contaminants. Whatever pollutants are there, they are just neutralizing that. So they are the good signs for earth and for us. Also, soil is the foundation of every terrestrial food chain on earth, that we know. As soil is the ultimate natural supplier of the food we eat, we can't survive without it. So whatever is we are getting from energy, food and water, that depend on the earth, soil. Earth, basically earth and our outer layer of the earth, that is soil. However, in the face of climate change and various anthropogenic activities, our soils are being degraded. This is the very negative feedback. There are degradation, salinization, like that process. So this is not good science for soil. So next slide is erosion disrupt the natural balance, reducing water infiltration. We discussed everything. Everything depend on the soil, and here we are getting water also, because there are 5 ways for getting water in soil, that I will discuss later on. So if there is a disruption in natural balance of a soil, because there is fixed contamination, sorry, composition of soil, if that will disturbed by other factors, by human made, by industrialization, by urbanization, then it will affect the restoration or restoration of water. The loss of soil nutrients is a significant cause of soil degradation. This is the very negative sign and a major international problem for food security and sustainability. As we know, we all just rely on the food we are getting from the soil. If quality of soil will be not good, then we will not get good food. we will not get food, then there will be lack of nutrition in our body. So there will be chances of more diseases. So this is a not good sign. It also result in high cost of production. If there will be less production, their cost will be very high, and income will be low, and loss of biodiversity extra. So as food security is a major concern, India has to overcome the challenge of low productivity due to soil degradation. So this is a very big challenge for India and for worldwide. If we are not getting proper production, then how we will manage? So that depend on the degradation of soil. So that we have to protect, that we have to stop. The loss of nutrients from soil happens due to more than one reasons. There are many reasons for that degradation. One of these soil erosion. Erosion refers to removal of the top layer of the soil by various means, which include both anthropogenic as well as natural events. Previously, we have discussed actually there are three layers: crust, mantle, and core. So here we are discussing about crust. So if there will be removal of the top layer of soil by various means, this is not a good sign. The natural agents responsible for soil erosion include wind, water, and waves. Here, lots of factors are responsible for degradation, erosion, but main factor is the water. Among these agents, water is considered as the main cause of soil erosion. So soil erosion results in loss of fertility of topsoil, nutrients content decline as they are washed away by erosion. As we know, if there will be very speedy flow of water, that will just flow all the nutrients whatever present in surface level of soil. So there will be less nutritive balance. There will be less organic material, less inorganic material, like that. Nutrition value will be very less. So this is a bad sign for our crop production. So in the underground water level and also get reduced. So this will also affect the water level and vegetation and habitat loss, frequent occurrence of drought and floods, many other adverse effects. So floods, these are the factors that just create erosion. And next challenge is soil salinization. So soil salinization is a major process of land degradation that decreases soil fertility and a significant component of desertification process. As Saket sir told, if there will be lot of sodium chloride, sodium compounds, then there will be less water, and that soil and that land will be too much dry, and so there will be cracking everything. So the accumulation of soluble salts in soil occurs when evaporation exceeds precipitation, and salts are not leached but remain in the upper soil layers in low lying areas. Natural soil salinization, referred to as primary salinization, occurs in arid and semi-arid climatic zones. So this is the main important factor, that's salinization. So come to the next slide. Besides reducing net cultivable area, soil salinization hits hard the productivity and quality of agricultural produce, quality of water, the choice of cultivable crops. If there will be more salinization, there will be disturbed function of plant development and also storation of water. That will be disturbed by salinization. So for all important crops, average yields in salt stress environment are only a fraction, somewhere between 20 and 50% of record yields. Estimates suggest global economic, there are a big economic loss due to salinization that we have to solve. A growing trend in the salt affected soils in India is also becoming a threat to national food security and economic development. As we know, is we are saying this is a very good land for pulses, for rice, for whatever grains we are just cultivating. But after salinization, we can't say the same word, because that will be different. There will be no nutrition values for plants, for our grains. So this is also depend on degradation, also depends on the water logging. If there is no proper drainage, then water will be accumulate in that area. So there will be less circulation of air. Plants will not get that soil will not get proper air. So this is the very signs of degradation. And next is shifting cultivation. In northeastern state of India, they are just doing slash and burn. BD Sharma sir know the very well. I don't know in detail. So method of cultivation is different. They are cultivating in here. Suppose that in a ground, but then next time they will cultivate in B ground. Then next time they will cultivate in C ground. For getting new land, they are just deforestation. They are doing deforestation, and in among them they are again doing experiment in every time. So they are burning of forest, also result in soil erosion and gradual degradation of soil. So this is not a good habit, but as per circumstances they are doing. And then overgrazing and deforestation. Previously, I have told these also make the soil prone to various type of erosion, leading to depletion of the various nutrients from the soil. Similarly, over extraction of groundwater. If we are doing too much process for extraction of groundwater in many times by bore well and by well, like that we are doing. So if we are doing many experiment in that land, that soil, then there will be less nutrition. There will be more salinization. There will be more compounds, sodium compounds and extra. So that will be not good for grain and others. So come to the next slide. As we know, our environment made up of by four factors: Jal, Vayu, Desh, and Janmanas. So these all things, Jal, Vayu, Desh. Here, Desh means that is land. So that we have to protect. So Janpado Dhwans is also important factor in Ayurveda, that made up of by the Kala. So land pollution means undesirable physical, biological, and chemical factors introduced by human activities that we have to stop. So next is introduction. Soil pollution refers to the contamination of soil. Actually, there is proper composition of soil that we have to know. If we will disturb by our urbanization, mechanization, and industrialization, that will affect on our human society. So that we have to remember every time. So what are the causes of soil pollution? Increased mechanization, increased urbanization, increased agriculture, land, pesticide. Pesticide is the main source of land pollution or soil pollution. Increased waste disposal, increased automation. These are the main. What is the chemical composition of the soil that we can see? Soil contains 40 to 45% inorganic matter, 5% organic matter, and 25% water, and 25% air. If this ratio will be disturbed by entry of some lead, some other metals, then quality of the soil will be disturbed, and that will be not useful for grains, for production of grains or for us. So here we can see exact soil chemical components, mineral matter obtained by the disintegration and decomposition of rocks, organic matter obtained by the decay of plant residues and animals, water obtained from the atmosphere and the reaction in soil, air or air gases from atmospheric reaction, and organisms that are survived naturally. So these are the good signs. But due to our activity, urbanization, industrialization, these metals we are just adding. These metals are arsenic, antimony, cadmium, thallium, mercury, zinc, selenium, chromium, lead, nickel, beryllium, copper. These are the toxic metals. Here the word toxic is not good for us, not good for plant. So we are lacking. So what is the regulatory authority for just soil and everything? EPA, FAO, and two others. United Nations London guidelines for the exchange of information on chemicals in international trade, and the United Nations Codex Alimentarius Commission. So health effects we can see here. If we are adding chromium or pesticides by our using pesticides, then this is carcinogenic. So whatever the pesticide is carcinogenic, we are getting it from grain, whatever we are eating, rice, pulses, whatever. So there are more part is a pesticide. So that is carcinogenic. So we have risk factor for carcinoma. And then same things like that, lead. So that give nervous disorder. And same thing, benzene that create an leukemia. Mercury create kidney damage. Cyclodines create liver toxicity. Organophosphates create neuromuscular progression. And chlorinated solvents create visceral changes. So we have the one great solution in Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, what we can do? there we have to first just observe that place. That place is polluted or not according to Ayurveda. So that is the definition is one quote is there in Sushut Kalp. Chiti Pradesham Visdushtam tu Shilataram Tirtham Mint Therinam va Isprashanti Gatren tu yen Gova Jina Gosht Khara Nara va Tachunta Yatyat Dahte cha Vishirite Rom Nakam Tatheo. If that place used by the animals and human beings, so that touched part will be there will be burning sensation, there will be itching more, and there will be just allergic manifestations we can see. So this is the sign of just polluted land, polluted soil. So what is the solution in Ayurveda? There is a solution. Tatrapyantana sarvagandha pishta surabhi nirvaj margam sinchet payobhi. In harmed ground, the harmed surface ought to be cleansed by sprinkling it over with an answer of Ananta and Sarvagandha. This explained in wine. We have to mix it in wine or with a milk or with a dark clay, Valmiki mitti, or in water. With the decoction of Vidang Patha Katbi, also we can take another compound. Same thing like that, water pollution. Actually, water is also depend on the earth surface. So there are 75% of water. This is a normal consistency of water. Here we can say physical appearance, like color will be color should be transparent, taste and odor should be acceptable, turbidity should be less than 5 NTU. This is the good sign of water. If pH should be 6.5 to 8.5, BOD should be 0.75 to 1.5, a chloride should be 400 milligram per liter, total hardness should be 500 milligram per liter, like that. So this is the good sign. If this composition will be disturbed by our polluting agents, that we have to avoid, that we have to solve this problem. So we previously we have to know how many types of water pollutions are there. So there are physical water pollution, chemical water pollution, biological water pollution, physiological water pollution. So physical pollution, we can see the abnormality in change, color, odor, taste. Previously, whatever we have seen in previous slide, that will be changed. Density, turbidity, thermal properties. In chemical pollution, due to presence of inorganic and organic chemicals such as acid, alkali, toxic, inorganic compounds, and dissolved organic compounds. Biological pollution, we can see due to presence of pathogenic bacteria, certain fungi, pathogenic protozoa, virus, parasitic worms. In physiological pollution, we can see caused by the several chemical agents such as free chloride, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, ketones, phenols, amines, etc. So type of water pollution as per the sources we can also see. First is the groundwater pollution. Second is surface water pollution, lake water pollution, river water pollution, sea water pollution. Here we can see picture. These are the waste material that flow in the upper surface of the water. And this is the oil in the upper surface of the water. So this is not good sign. The sources of water pollution is sewage, industrial effluents, agricultural discharges, fertilizers, detergent, toxic metals, siltation, thermal pollutants, radioactive materials. And these are the chemicals previously we have discussed. If there will be lead, there will be brain disorders, and there will be arsenic, disturbed peripheral circulation, mental disturbances. If there will be mercury, abdominal pain, headache, diarrhea. If there will be cadmium, growth retardation, diarrhea, bone deformation, we can see. In barium, excessive salivation, vomiting, diarrhea, we can see. In cobalt, diarrhea, low BP, lung irritation. So these are the signs of metallic contamination. So same thing, we can solve this problem by Ayurveda concept. So first we have to observe, examine the water. This is pradushit or not? So pradushit lakshan is dushtam jalam pichalam ugragandhi phenamritam rajavirvirtam cha. So that will be frothy, that water will be frothy, and that will be disparate. We can't see any objects inside the water. So like that, how we can manage it? We can manage it by some medicines. Some medicines, ash of some medicines that we have to apply on the water. That herbal drugs are Dhav, Ashkan, Asan, Paribhadra, Patla, Siddhak, Mokshak, Aragvad, and Somvalk. These medicines, we have to burn it and make it ash, and that ash we have to pour it in water in a small vessels. and that small vessels we have to mixed with whatever source. So here now come to the ending point of the slide. Soil Day. What is the need of World Soil Day? Actually, considering the importance of soil, the International Union of Soil Science is in 2002 adopted a resolution. In 2002, we have got a resolution, but in by FAO in 2013, as its 68th General Assembly unanimously declared December 5th to be celebrated as World Soil Day. Why? Because this is the birth date of King of Thailand. He was the initiator of the this one resolution. His late HM King Bhumi Ball Adyul Lej. The theme of World Soil Day, what is the theme of 2023? This year, the World Soil Day 23 is soil and water, a resource of life. It aims to raise awareness of the importance of maintaining healthy ecosystem and human well-being by addressing the growing challenge in soil and water. So here, awareness is the main theme. If we all will be aware, then we can protect our soil, we can preserve our water sources. So this is important. It is estimated that to feed the burgeoning population, the country would require about 300. This is the data. In 2030, we have a requirement of 311 million tons of food, but we have less space, less land, less soil. Then how we can occupy? In 2050, this will be increased up to the 350. So that we have to just solve the problem. Whatever degradation is going on in 147 million hectare of land is subjected to soil degradation. That we have to recover, that we have to restore again. Then we can use. Government of India has also a fixed target of restoring 26 million hectare of degraded lands. So the government of India focused on degraded lands. How we can make it fertile land. For that process is going on. And lastly, I conclude, healthy soils enriched with organic matter play a crucial role in regulating water retention and availability. So efficient use of quality water, promoting the sustainable use of fertilizers and pesticides. We have to avoid strong chemical based pesticide. We have to use the organic, whatever we are using, that dung, cow dung, whatever you are using previously. That again we have to return to the past time. So there we have to search many solutions for that, for removing, for stopping degradation. The soil being a very precious resource needs to be conserved. Modification in agronomic practices like ploughing across the slope, zero or no tillage, interlapping crop rotation with leguminous crops, cover crops, strip cultivation also result in. So lastly, I am just thankful to all of you for your presence and silence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nitin. Thank you very much. Great.
Thank
Nicely
you.
explained the IOS connection with soil. Excellent. Excellent. And really,
Yes, sir.
these
Thank you,
tips and tricks will be definitely beneficial for the cultivation of next crop of our Ayurvedic medicine.
yes.
Dr. Durga Prasad highlighted one
Yes, sir.
point where our industry is weak, that we are unable to identify till now. Then utmost care we are taking in manufacturing of Ayurvedic medicine. But unfortunately, when it goes to America or any other country, they found that so many pesticide, heavy metal, etc., etc. I don't know whether it is a blame game or it is a real situation of the problem. I would like to invite Dr. Durga Prasad ji that next webinar we would like to conduct with soil experts on the same topic, but for cultivation of medicinal plant. Dr. Durga Prasad, please.
Sure. We should have such kind of seminar because, see, most of the Ayurvedic industries, 90% of the medicines we use, all the herbal materials only. So
Yes.
for the continuous sustained supply, as one of the speakers is saying, for the sustained supply of good raw material, good herbal material, we should have a proper soil and water conservation. Without these two, we can't have any good herbal material, and so which affects the finished product also. Second thing, see, in Ayurveda, there is a clear mention of which kind of plant material should be collected from which source of the area. For example, we have been taught, or we learned that ashwagandha should be collected from the tropical areas, like in the Rajasthan or the Katni, Satna belt. Similarly, similarly, tulsi in the Samarddhi area, or the aquatic plants, or the spices from the southern part. Kerala is one of the most sought after place for the spices. So, though ashwagandha grows all across the country, but ashwagandha grown from the only Rajasthan, Nagaur variety contains the highest amount of active principles, highest alkaloids, which gives its active principles, or which is more effective in the desired efficacy. Whether it is Vatahara or Vrishya or adaptogenic, anxiolytic, you need to have certain active principles in certain active composition, and that composition comes only from certain areas of the area. So that is clearly mentioned in Ayurveda. So we should have next webinar, maybe Pavanji, we should have such kind of applied geology. One of the earlier speaker, he gave a very elaborative, excellent lecture, like the black soil or the soil layers, how fertile can be soil, etc. So how this can be applied in Ayurveda for the herbal raw material cultivation. So that will give a lot of importance and idea to grow more plants in the various areas. So thank you, Pavanji. I think we should have the next webinar in the applied aspect, so that we can have, because see, most of the Ayurvedic doctors, they also prepare their own plan, some of the formulations. So that's such kind of knowledge. Every company has some BRD division, bioresearch division. So this BRD division should also inculcate such kind of practices. So at Dabur we have BRD division. I know what kind of work we are doing in BRD, where we are doing the saplings and the high altitudes, the species like Manjista or Tagara in the Tibet area, in the high altitudes, or Pushkar Mool, Kushta like area plants. So we can if we can use that knowledge, that geology knowledge in Ayurveda. So Ayurvedic geology is one of the most sought after areas to increase. So that's I think my area of interest. Let's have one webinar on that. Thank you, Pavanji.
Actually, it was duty of NMPV when it was created.
Yeah.
Neither NMPV is able to coordinate for mandis, herbal mandi. 20 years, I was also member of State Medicinal Plant Board in West Bengal. So I'm seeing their working pattern. I don't know why SMPB and NMPB is not so active to support industry. They are just asking data from industry, what you are using, nothing else, nothing else. Really, it is a great blunder on the side of NMPB and SMP.
Because see, at least because we have done some research, we have collected ashwagandha from different parts of the country and identified and studied its active principles. So it was clearly indicated ashwagandha from Nagaur of Rajasthan and Katni, Satni area, it contains about 5 to 6% of the vithanolides and cytoindicides, which are actually the marker compounds, or which are actually useful as an anxiolytic or adaptogenic or immunomodulator, which is the property of ashwagandha. If I collect the same ashwagandha from Delhi, if I collect the same ashwagandha from Himachal Pradesh, though it is called ashwagandha, it doesn't have the active principles of vithanolides and cytoindicides in the required quantity. So, as an industrialist, if I go to market tomorrow, there are 32 varieties of ashwagandha available in the market. Ashwagandha roots, 32 varieties. But of the 32 varieties, maybe only 2 or 3 varieties of ashwagandha are only actually useful. So we should, as an Ayurvedic person, we should know which kind of ashwagandha are we using, which kind of tulsi, which kind of brahmi are we using to give the proper effective medicine for the consumer. Otherwise, हम क्या करते हैं? We are giving ashwagandha, but that is ashwagandha is not effective, and the consumer will say Ayurveda बकवास है, Ayurveda में कोई काम ही नहीं करता, डॉक्टर को diagnose नहीं करना था. So the blame comes for Ayurveda. so which is not good for the progress of Ayurveda. So I think we should have such micromanagement of soil, water relation to Ayurvedic plants. So that is the micromanagement which we need to do. Pawanji, you are on mute.
You are absolutely right. Because industry will be benefited after that only.
Yeah.
Industry is waiting for any devata who will uddar it. Just for sake of example, hing. For what we are discussing, hing. No Vansalochan, hing. Hing we are not getting pure.
Correct.
Right from 500 rupees kg to 50,000 rupees kg, hing is available in the market.
Yeah.
And the industry is going for the cheaper option. And then also our Ayurveda is working. Really great. Salute to Ayurveda. Salute to Ayurveda. We are using Vansalochan, duplicate Vansalochan right from our student life.
Yeah.
We are using quintals, we are using. Then also Ayurveda is working. Really Ayurveda has potential. Ayurveda has potential. In our Ayurvedic industry, 2-3 things have really washed out, like amber. Amber Unani is using, but not in our Ayurveda. Kasturi. Yeah. Kasturi we are rarely using, but Unani is using Kasturi. So this really we are lacking something in our Ayurveda. We are lacking, absolutely lacking our old formulation. And it is also very unfortunate that Ayurvedic formulary of India is now standardized for all. That means 1,30,000 formulation of TKDL is now washed. Nobody will take care of that. Nobody will take care of that. When AFI is there, everybody is going to drug control with AFI reference.
Yeah.
Yes, that is I am observing here. I am patron of this Ayush Nirmata Singh in Madhya Pradesh also. And in my Kolkata also, I am vice president. So I am observing their tendencies of SSI that they are not going into the detail, but really Tower is doing excellent in field of research also and in field of procurement also. As really you was the competitor of mine, but before 1 year, now I am yours. Now I am yours.
It's as a industry. As a healthcare industry, we are healthcare people. So as a healthcare people, it's our prime responsibility to give most quality and most effective medicines to our consumers.
Yes.
The one thing I believe very strongly, Pawanji, I think all Ayurvedic doctors attending the seminar might also agree with me. I believe in only one thing. If Ayurveda progresses, we progress. If Ayurveda doesn't progress, we can't progress. We can't alone progress at all. We are Ayurvedic people. First, Ayurveda has to progress. So it's our fundamental job to responsibility to propagate the goodness of Ayurveda. Then automatically we will also follow the same thing. If I think I will become more popular, then I can bring Ayurveda. That will never happen.
You are very right. You are very right. Absolutely, you are right. But Dr. Durga Prasad ji, now I am in academy. If our Ayurvedic hospitals, really, Ayurvedic hospitals can be converted into chronic disease center and palliative care center, our Ayurveda will flourish. Because till now, industry has important role to propagate Ayurveda. Now the role of next webinar I have conducted only for that all retired persons after retirement, they vanish. They vanish from Ayurveda. No, we don't know, think Ayurveda. Are 40 years you have earned from Ayurveda. Now how can you leave Ayurveda?
Yeah.
This is my pain in the heart. No problem. Really, excellent. Today's webinar is excellent. And please guide me, Dr. Durga Prasad, on which topic and with who, experts. Both. Only give me photo of experts. Today I have added your photo as also as expert. But please give me experts also for next webinar on the same topic.
Yeah.
Today I have modified this for YouTube. So thank you for joining Dr. Durga
Thank
Prasad ji today. Thank you, and do join. Please do join whenever topic of your choice.
Yes. Yeah.
I have
Whenever.
Ayurvedic doctors are interested to get the formulation from seniors. This is also the drawback. When I am conducting webinar on any clinical topic, so many doctors come that some senior expert will reveal the secret of that treatment. Ayurveda has a personalized treatment therapy. This is not a formula. Really, I am
Yeah.
laughing myself. Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
doctor.
Thank you.
We are meeting on 8.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So now I would like to request Dr. Nishant Shukla ji from Jamnagar to conclude this webinar. Dr. Nishant Shukla ji from Anand Park, Jamnagar. सुतपा जी, डॉक्टर सुतपा वर्धन जी, आप बोलेंगे? सुतपा जी, निशांत जी, नमस्कार।
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 आज के इस वेबिनार में सॉइल कंजर्वेशन वेबिनार में जितनी भी बातें बताई गई, दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली एंड नीड ऑफ द डे। हाउ वी कैन प्रिवेंट सॉइल, दिस आर द नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस। एक वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड से आया हुआ सूत्र है, ओल्ड मैक्सिको, शायद ये ओल्ड मैक्सिको का है, कि वी शुड प्रिजर्व the natural resources for our next generation. So this is a duty of ourselves. So this is a duty of ourselves. हमें, हमारी ये जिम्मेदारी है कि हम उसको ओनरशिप नहीं पर ट्रस्टीशिप की तरह से हम देखें और किस प्रकार से नेचुरल मीन्स को हम यूज करें। डेफिनेटली कुछ एक बातें पिछले 50 साल 100 साल में हुई है जिनके कारण डेवलपमेंट काफी अच्छा हुआ है और वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड ने यहाँ पर लीड किया है। पर कुछ एक बातें जो इंडिया और इंडियन ओरिजिन में, इंडियन कस्टमरी में रही है कि किस प्रकार से सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट को हम अचीव कर सके। आज WHO सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स की बात कर रहा है, तो ये इंडियन थॉट्स में ऑलरेडी था, केवल हमें जो है वो उसको आज एक अलग परिप्रेक्ष्य में या फिर केवल इंग्लिश में हम ये बोल रहे हैं, पर ये विचारधारा कहीं ना कहीं जो है ये भारतीय विचारों से ही प्रेरित है। इसको तो हम शब्दशः कह सकते हैं। केवल हमें करना ये होगा कि हम अपने विचारों को और हमारी जो पूर्व के ज्ञान थे उनको हम संजोए रखें और उसको किस प्रकार के से आज के प्रारूप में हम इसको रखें, तो ये काफी उपयोगी है। सॉइल कंजर्वेशन को के मैं एक पॉइंट जो है ये ऐड करना चाहूंगा, शायद ये पॉइंट ऐड भी हुआ है, पर फिर भी मुझे ये लगता है कि इस पॉइंट को हमें ऐड करने की जरूरत है कि जितने भी केमिकल्स हैं, केमिकल डेरिवेटिव्स हैं, केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर हैं, टॉक्सिक मटेरियल्स हैं, तो इन सभी की जो है ये हाफ लाइफ ये इम्पोर्टेंट है। आज DDT को हम यूज करते थे, तो DDT की फूड चेन में रहता है और उसकी हाफ लाइफ जो है ये इतनी लंबी है कि इसकी इफेक्ट जाने में युगों का समय जो है ये निकलता जाएगा। 1 साल हमने यूज कर दिया, एक बार यूज कर दिया, उसकी इफेक्ट को जाने में युगों तक का समय जो है ये निकल जाएगा। तो ऐसी जो है वो चीजें जो होलसम नहीं है, उन चीजों को हमें डेफिनेटली जो है वो यूज नहीं करना चाहिए। स्ट्रिक्टली जो है उसको जो है हमें प्रोस्क्राइब करना चाहिए। दिस आर माय थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर गिविंग मी द चांस। आई एम थैंकफुल टू ऑल द प्रेजेंटर्स। मैं उनके नाम नहीं ले रहा हूँ, मैं संकलन करके, क्योंकि उनका जो है ये सहयोग काफी उपयोगी है और इन जैसे गंभीर विषय पर आयुर्वेद से भी जो है ये हमें जो है ये आंसर्स ढूंढने का प्रयत्न करना चाहिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
मैं आखिरी में शेखर जी को बुलाऊं उसके पहले एक जस्ट लाइट मोड में कमेंट दे रहा हूं। आज देखिए, रिटायर्ड आदमियों की मैंने बात की थी नेक्स्ट वेबिनार में, मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं पीछा। वॉलेंट्री डे है आज, मैं आज नहीं तो कल करूंगा, लेकिन आज कोई भी रिटायर्ड आदमी नहीं है सर इसमें, मेरे को छोड़ के। रियली ग्रेट सर, ग्रेट। आज कोई भी रिटायर्ड आदमी अपनी लिस्ट में नहीं दिख रहे हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने सोची भगवान जाने पवन शर्मा क्या बोल देगा, मालूम नहीं। तो उसके पहले हम लोग निकल ले, कोई नहीं बचा। तो मैं इस वॉलेंटियर डे को आज सेलिब्रेट नहीं करते हैं, जिस दिन रिटायर्ड आदमी अपनी लिस्ट में ज्यादा होंगे उसी दिन वो वॉलेंटियर डे सिलेक्ट।
सर तो वो पहले कर दीजिएगा,
हाँ,
उसको
उसको
प्रीपोन
पहले
कर
करें।
दीजिएगा।
हाँ, ठीक बोले। थैंक यू सैकत जी, कुछ डॉक्टर सैकत कुमार बसु,
हाँ जी,
वेलकम
वेलकम,
जी।
थैंक यू।
है ना, सब रिटायर्ड आदमी आउट हो गए आज। आज मैंने रिटायर्ड आदमियों के लिए नेक्स्ट कंडक्ट।
ठीक है, लाइक
ग्रेट।
नो, हमें प्लेटफॉर्म देना चाहिए। आज नहीं है लेकिन कल कोई जरूर आएंगे। सो सभी के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि रिटायर्ड होने से आपका जिंदगी खत्म नहीं होता है, उससे एक नया स्टार्ट, नया ओरिजिन मिलता है। And to keep yourself healthy, you need to be, active in some way or other. And what could be so good than contributing to the field that you have worked for such a long? So आयुर्वेदिक जो मतलब practitioners है, अगर वो रिटायरमेंट के बाद आयुर्वेदा के वेरियस एरियाज में कंट्रीब्यूट करे, इफ नॉट एनीथिंग अबाउट पॉपुलराइजेशन ऑफ आयुर्वेदा और disseminating Ayurveda among the common people.